So, what I'm going to train on is our booking system. So, what keeps me sane and organized in my business that I highly recommend you doing are 3 things. One is just a spiral notebook, so just a regular spiral notebook. Mine's pretty, but yours can be any spiral notebook. Doesn't matter. As long as that spiral notebook is dedicated only to your booking system, because this system doesn't work if you write other things in this notebook. And then, of course, your planner, so whatever planner you have. And for new consultants, you do have a planner in your starter kit, so if you don't already have one, that's a good one to use. And then just a 3-ring binder. So I'm going to show you how to use all of these really quickly. I'm not going to take too long, but this is going to be a good reference for now if you don't know how to do it, but also for later. If you ever want to go back and look at it, this video should be here forever. So the first one is the spiral notebook. So this is the one that's a little bit harder to get the hang of, but it's actually quite simple once you learn it. So basically, what you do is you decide how many phone calls you want to make each day. So a lot of people do 10, and 10 is totally fine. I personally do 16 because that's how many fits on a page, so it's a random number, but I just do a page of phone calls each day. So if you want to make 10 phone calls each day, then when you start this system, you're going to need about 30 leads because it's a 3-day system. And then you're going to need leads coming in regularly. So leads can come from facial boxes, they can come from your contact list if you're new, they can come from referrals if you've gotten referrals from parties, they can come from restaurant promotions, they can come from vendor events. I mean, there's a lot of different places that you can get leads from, and if you need help actually getting the leads, let me know. Right now we're really focusing on facial boxes. They're really exciting and they've been working really well for us. So if you have questions about those, let me know, because I've been getting together with some consultants just helping to make them and put them out and to know like what to buy and how to put them together and all that stuff. So let me know if you are interested in that. But right now we're just going to assume that you already have your leads, and I know a lot of you don't, and that's fine, we'll get them, but for now this is after you have the leads, what are you going to do with them? So this is the booking notebook. So you put the night before you're going to make calls, and this is important with time management, is just deciding when you're going to work. So you schedule yourself just like a job, where if you treat this like a job, you treat this like a business, and you respect it like a business, you can build this into a multi-million-dollar business, but it starts with that self-discipline. So that's why we make our list the night before, because if you try to sit down, let's say you set aside an hour today to do phone calls, and your hour is 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and you sit down at 5 o'clock and you're like, oh, let me get my leads, let me get my notebook, let me make my list, oh look, now it's 6 o'clock. So you want to be prepared, because success happens when preparation meets opportunity. So you want to schedule yourself to make booking calls, make your list the night before. So what I put on each line, and I'll show you my list for tomorrow. So these are the people I have not called yet, just so you can kind of see what it looks like. It is literally just a list of names. I hope you can see this. So I put their name, I put where I met them. So like some of these say Mio's FB, which is facial box, and then I put their phone number, and that's it, and I skip a line so that I can take notes. So these people, I am ready to call them tomorrow. I am prepared. So have your list prepared, and then whenever you actually sit down to book them, this is a color-coded system. So when you call them, if they don't answer and you leave a voicemail, they're going to be yellow. So the yellow ones that you see, like this one right here, this one I left a voicemail for. And then if they book, I highlight them pink. So these people answered the phone and I booked them. And then if they did answer the phone, but I did not book them, I was using blue. So now this one it was yellow. I left a voicemail. She called me back, so I highlighted it pink. It looks orange, but it's supposed to be pink. So these blue ones here, they answered the phone, but I didn't book them. So I just wanted a way to know, like, hey, and see, like this one right here says, was at a football game. So then I hung up and she asked me to text her, and then I booked her, so she turned pink. And then I keep a Sharpie in case anybody's ever like, totally not interested, don't call me back, so that way I don't transfer them and follow up with them later. So that's the system. It's very simple. Now over here on the side, so I number it like I don't know why I number it, you totally don't have to, but these circles right here, these all say C1, and that stands for contact 1, because the purpose of this is for you to be able to follow up with them, because most bookings don't happen the first time you call them, because a lot of times they're not available, they don't answer, you leave a voicemail, they listen, they totally forget to call you back, they forget to text you. So it's not that you just call them once and then you're done. You're actually going to call them 3 times. Now for the people who you call and you leave a voicemail, you're immediately going to text them too. And these texts and the scripts, like everything is in our booking script file. So it's important that you follow the scripts. That's also something that's really, really important. I know it's really hard for some people, especially people who are pretty independent and, you know, like their own style, where they feel like they don't want to follow the script, but please, please trust me. Just trust me. Just try it. Just follow the scripts. So we have a booking script for facial boxes, referrals, any kind of script that you need. New consultants that are booking their first parties for practice, we have all of that. So it's in the files. If you look at the pinned post on this group, there's a Google Drive, and the Google Drive has all of those things. So there's a folder in the Google Drive that says Booking Notebook, and it has the booking scripts in it. And it also has, if you call them and leave a voicemail and then you have to send a text, that text is in the booking script. So it should be pretty easy to find, but if you have questions, just let me know. Alright, so this is day 1. They're all contact 1 because I'm contacting all of these people for the first time, since this is the very first page in my booking notebook. Day 2, same thing. These are all being contacted for the first time. And as you see, not even half of them have booked. A lot of them I left voicemails for. And then the next day, and this doesn't have to be the exact next day. Like, I have 10:29, 10:30, and 11. Okay, so this was actually 3 days in a row, but not everybody's going to book every single day. So it's not that it has to be 3 exact days. It's just on the 3rd day. I'm still contact 1 for each person and highlighting them. Now on day 4, this is where the fun starts. So on day 4, I am going back to 3 days prior, and I'm looking at all the people that are not pink. So if they did not book, if they're yellow or any color other than pink, they're going to be transferred onto this page. So when you transfer them for the second time, this is going to say C2 for contact 2. So I have C2s up until 9. So I had 9 people that I transferred from that day onto this day, which means for the rest of my calls, I needed some new people. So down here, it says C1, because that's new people, new leads that came out of facial boxes, events, restaurants, things like that. So now my page is full again. I make those calls. This day, same thing. And this is why it's important to use this notebook only for booking, because it can get confusing if you're using it for other things and you try to remember, like, oh gosh, who are the people that I need to transfer. It's much easier to just say, okay, I'm making my list for today, so I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3. I transfer these. So these unbooked people, I transferred again, C2, and then filled it up, and I had 10 that day, and then, no, I had 11 that day that didn't book from the other page, and then I just filled in the rest with brand new leads. Same thing the next day. So now, the people from the first 3 days, I've put them all, followed up with them all. This is just the second time I've called, though. And then, now we're back to day 1 again, but really it's day 7. Because we have day 1, day 2, day 3, and then we followed up on 4, 5, and 6, and now it's 7, so it's follow-up time again. So now I'm going back 3 days again, or 3 pages again, and I am taking these people here that aren't pink, same thing, I'm taking them and putting them here. So we had some C1s and some C2s that day, now we have some C3s. So these are people that I have called twice already, but they still haven't booked. And see, like right here, this C3, this was the 3rd time I called her, and she finally booked. So some people don't book until that very last attempt. And then the C1s from that page, that was contact 1, they're being moved to this page too, but they're now C2s. And then right here, I have C1s. So I filled in the rest. So I ended up having 5 contact 3 people, 3 contact 2 people, and I filled in the rest. So by this time, most of those people have fallen off because I've either booked them or they've said no thank you. After C3, you don't transfer them anymore. So you're contacting them 3 times. Well, it's 6 because you call and then text immediately, call and then text immediately, and then call and then text. And after that, you can keep this notebook. Don't get rid of it. And then after a while, you can go back after a few months. Like now I can go back to my October people and follow up with them if they never booked. But you don't transfer them another time. So then what happens is you just have this running system of moving people so that you follow up with them and adding new people, which means you need a pretty steady stream of leads coming in. So all days are going to have contact 3s, contact 2s, and contact 1s once you get into the habit of actually using this notebook. So the only other thing that I would say is, of course, it's important to put their information, where you met them. I always write notes, and then the contact 1, 2, and 3, that's really important. But I've also been tracking when I put them into my Hostess notebook, because once you book them, I always write it here and I highlight them pink so that I don't transfer them. But after you book them, you do want to transfer them to your 3-ring binder. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So your 3-ring binder is where you put your hostesses once they're booked. So these are our Hostess coaching sheets, and these are also in the Google Drive. So when I book them, they get their own sheet that has their name, their phone number, email address, date, where I met them, the address, all that fun stuff. And then once I get their guest list, it has a place for their guest list so I can text them and see if they have any skin concerns. And this, when I sit down to work my business, I'm going to make my booking calls, but these don't take very long. Sometimes you get on the phone with people and they want to talk a lot, but usually it doesn't take too long. And then the other thing is I'm going to open this and I'm going to coach my hostesses, because if you book somebody and then you don't talk to them again until the day of, they're not going to hold. They're going to forget. So I always coach my hostesses. You want to talk to them almost every day, and it's usually text. I usually just, text them. So I get them on the phone to book them, because booking calls are a lot more effective than booking text. But after they're already booked, my communication for the most part is text, and I always ask them first. So when I open my book, the next one that I see, this is always my next party. So I keep them in order, like date order, so that I know who I'm following up with first. So the most important is on top because it's the soonest, so you want to be on top of them. Now, once the booking has passed, I always fold their paper into a triangle or a rectangle. So a triangle means that they held, so these parties here, they happened. And then a rectangle, this means that they didn't hold. So at some point, especially if I'm running low on leads, I'm going to go back and follow up with these rectangle people to reschedule them if I haven't already. And then it's also a really good visual for you guys, because we always say half of what we book holds, and sometimes people don't really know that that's true. But if you look at mine, and this is, I have to empty it out every once in a while because it gets pretty thick, but I usually try to do that only every other month or so. So right now, these are all from the middle of June until now, and really I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these held, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these didn't. So the numbers don't lie. I also have a little, this is just a little plastic envelope so I can put my leads. So like these leads right here are not in my lead notebook yet, in my booking notebook. So whenever I go to make my list for the following day, I'll have leads to put on it because I already have a bunch of leads from my facial boxes. The other thing that I put in this notebook, just so I can keep them safe and in a spot where I don't lose them, are my referrals. So when I have referrals, I hole punch them, which you should have referrals from every party, but I hole punch them and they go in here so that I can refer to them when I go to book them. And then the last thing, hopefully this is making sense, the last thing is your calendar, your planner. So really, really important. This is how I do mine. We're really big on color coding, of course, in Mary Kay. So when you are sitting down to make booking calls and you're like, okay, so yay, you want a pampering session, super exciting. If you're like, all right, so what works for you? She's not going to have anything for you. But if you say, okay, what works best, weeknights or weekends? And she says weekends, you want to be able to look at your calendar and literally not have to think about this, because if you're pausing and let me check and I'm not sure, it's just not very professional. But if you're like, okay, great, weekends, I have Saturday the 5th at 5, or I have Sunday the 6th at 3, or whatever, you're giving choices, and you're giving choices fast. You can do that if you are planning your days. So hopefully this is not as hard to see as I think it is, but you want to go through and highlight different colors. So I have boxes for different things, like I have personal stuff, family stuff. In blue, I have, in green, I have director stuff, like running meetings, new consultant meetings, things like that. And then in pink, that's where I do my parties. So when I'm on the phone making booking calls and I am booking somebody, when she says, okay, weeknights, I literally just look at the next 2 pink boxes for weeknights. I don't care if it's tomorrow night or not. Because if I was on the phone right now booking somebody, I actually do have tomorrow night available. If she says weeknight, I would say, okay, great. Well, I actually have tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. or I have next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Which one works best for you? So I'm giving choices. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But the main thing is that you do not want to let other people control your schedule. You don't want to book Mary Kay parties on top of your life stuff, your family stuff, your church, the things that are important to you. And in order to prevent that from happening, you're going to have to plan things out. And this helps with Mary Kay, but it also helps with life in general. So I hope that has helped. I have no idea how long this video is, but hopefully that has helped. And if you have any questions at all, or if you need the booking scripts, you can't find them, or if you need to see this stuff in person, I always have it on me. Or if you want to get together and book, we're really big on going to Starbucks and just making booking calls together, because sometimes it really helps you to hear me and to hear other consultants getting on the phone and booking. If you want to go put out facial boxes, if you want to come watch one of my parties, of course, just let me know. And be sure you're plugged into the Voxer group too, because a lot of what we do is shared on Voxer, where if we're going to Starbucks to make booking calls, I always put it on Voxer. If I have a party that y'all can come watch, I put it on Voxer. So if you're not plugged into the Voxer group, let me know so I can add you to it.